Hey everyone, so today I'm showing you something that is a little bit of a meme actually. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really fast, but it's kind of stupid. It's basically a Tweakeroo based tall flower farm, and it produces something around 2.8 million-ish items per hour. It's hard to test it very well because you can't tick warp it because it uses client packets. You can't like tick warp it, it won't scale properly. So I had to go off of like 10-minute tests, but I mean, really, it's just stupid amounts of items anyway. It's kind of goofy how I set it up too. This isn't really anything practical or serious because again, this is very clearly like cheating on any server. So this is just kind of something to show off a concept and like maybe a way to execute something that everybody's probably thought of before, you know. Anyway, let's go ahead and just have a look at how it works. So basically we have two main things going on here. We have this little clock, which I could probably improve later, but I wanted to make it's got a fairly specific timing now. And it's turned on and off by this block being dropped down. Basically what this does is it retracts this block and then puts it back shortly after. And this is because there's no way to collect these items through the block. Even a hopper minecart's not going to keep up with 2 million items per hour. So you basically have to retract the block, let it fall into a water stream, and then send it on its way to sorters. Like, that's the only way. So basically what this system does is it just retracts the block for a second and then puts it back. Now, to deal with this, since we're already right-clicking bone meal, we can just put the flour in our offhand and it will put the flour down immediately once the block is back. So it's really not too big of a deal. And if you were to ever want to make this sustainable for whatever reason, then you could just simply hook up the you could simply hook up the flowers to the dropper that puts them back into your hand. So the other part of this is the bone meal input. So when you're producing 2.8 million flowers per hour, that means you're using 2.8 million bone meal per hour. And so we have to have a pretty beefy system to output that much bone meal. So what I've done is I've taken the shulker unloader yeeter deleter thing made by an Andrew from Storage Tech, and I'll put a link to that server in the description. And basically what this thing does is it spits out a shulker and then immediately destroys it, and it makes all the items drop, and then it sends them down out of the lava before they burn. So it uses this big complex box of awesomeness to do so. And it sets it right here, and we put that over the player's head, and we put a carpet there so that the player's angled high enough to be able to pick up the bone meal through the wall. And then we also attach this little dropper to when the block is retracted. That way it spits out a flower to our offhand every time we use it. So we can just keep that filled manually, or obviously we can auto refill it from output if you were to ever actually use this for some reason. Anyway, I've got this thing hooked up to carpet counters, so it doesn't use as many hoppers as it would if you were hooking it up to chests, because the hoppers eat items like way faster. They eat them by the stack instead of outputting them by one. So basically you're going to need something probably 64 times bigger than maybe this far. You know, hundreds of sorters, or not even sorters, just like collectors for this. It's very silly. I don't think there's any practical reason to use it. It's just kind of funny to watch. So here, I'll go ahead and show it off in use now. So you can see, basically, you plant the flower, you spam the bone meal, the block gets retracted, all the items flop down into the water, and it just goes on from there. So if we look at our inventory, you can actually see the timings being put into effect. Basically, it uses almost all the bone meal and immediately fills it up right as you're about to run out. That way there's no massive item buildup up here. Pretty helpful. Maybe you could make the clock a little bit faster. I think there might be some downtime, but I mean, I don't know why you need to optimize something like this. Yeah. Anyway, it's been running for 5 minutes with nothing, so let me just go ahead and reset the counter and we can watch the madness. Alright, and I think I'm gonna stop it there. That was 100,000 flowers in 2.5 minutes, pretty much. Just, it's so silly. Again, I don't think this isn't meant to be taken seriously. It's a bit of a joke. I just wanted to kind of show off what it would look like, you know? So, just checking out the redstone real quick though, while it's running, you can see it's decently involved, honestly. It's nothing crazy, it's just, you know, hooking up a few things to each other. So we have this hopper clock set up, and it uses, I want to say, it should be 4 items, and it's using a repeater, not an observer. And yeah, it's just how often we're spitting out bone meal. And then also down here we just have the little tiny clock system, you already saw that. So now, keeping in mind that these hoppers are putting these items into the wool a stack at a time instead of one at a time like they normally do into chests. And look at how far the items are still going. It's making just so much stuff. So yeah, we'll stop it there. 2.4 million per hour. Why not? I mean, I've run it for maybe 10 minutes at once, and I think I got up to 2.8. But I mean, this isn't really going to be an exact science because again, I can't tick warp this, and I don't want to just sit here for hours just staring at it, you know? So anyway, because it's not meant to be taken seriously, I'm not going to test it seriously. That's all. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.